Well, good afternoon. We are at Rohnerville and we are going to, here, let me just stop here a second. And what we're doing is we got the brakes on. I can take that off and it won't move. Okay. So if you look down here, we've got a instrument flight plan, which is what we're going to do is we're going to run the approach that I flew every night, almost every night, because I shouldn't say almost every night, because in the winter time we wouldn't have the summer coastal fog for 3 or 4 months in the summer. In the winter time we did have storms and stuff, but normally when you have rain you break out at 3,000 feet, so you aren't taking the flight down to the minimums. But this is going to simulate the summer. So we fly up from San Francisco, and I'm taking off for Rohnerville because you've been back and forth between. We just came up from past San Francisco, and the Dark Star landed the other way. We came up here in the bay, came around and landed back on the opposite runway. Here we're going to land on runway 32 and 18, so that would be runway going back the other way. It'd be 14, I believe. 18, 28, yeah, and 430 would be runway 14 is what I landed on the other way. Anyway, we come over here, intercept what used to be the ILS, and this will be an RNAV approach. We've got this plugged in. We have to remember to click approach, and then it will latch on to the glide slope, and we'll see that fall down, and all these will be in the green. Okay, here we go. Take outside, and we'll turn on the autopilot once we get off the ground. Go ahead with full power. And I always like to look back at it when it takes off. It's fun to watch the airport go out of sight. I take the wheels up and the flaps up a little early, but that's what you do. And then I press on the autopilot, should make a right turn and start climbing up toward that's Highway 101 under us. Behind us is Scotia, which is where Redwood Lumber Company used to exist. And we will be flying up to Kneeland Airport that's up on top of the hill, which in the summers when this is all fogged in and you're a regular pilot, non-instrument pilot, you might not be able to get down with the fog, so you could land on top of the hill over here, which would be above the fog. So we'll go over to Kneeland. It just happens that Kneeland, and you can see that over in this area. See Kneeland over there? That's approximately where we will intercept the glide slope and start down automatic flight into Arcata Airport, which is what we're going to do here. When we get up there, I'll put it on hold. We'll look at what we have here. See that we're flying over to Kneeland. We took off down here from Rohnerville, and initially in westerly heading. Now we're heading. Oh, what are we heading? 032. We're heading north, and then we'll intercept this. We can see if the approach comes on. Yep. So we will see if that's high enough. We can maybe drop down. We've got a little time before we get to Kneeland, but it will. We were climbing to maintain 4,700 feet. We aren't quite at that number, 47 and change. Normally you have just even numbers. So once let's see how we look here. Yeah, see, we don't want to be much lower. So once we start making our turn, because this all goes downhill toward the Mad River and Arcata Airport, Redwood Airport. See, it talks about Kneeland right up here, which Kneeland is probably at about 4,000 feet, maybe 3,800 feet. We can come down to 4. Let's bring it down. We'll bring it down to 4,000. There we go, and we'll do this. And let it come down a little bit. And it will intercept the final approach, and that's when it catches the glide slope. All of these will turn green. When I flew the male, I would come in from the south, and I wouldn't come in at this angle. We're going to be pushing it pretty close, but you can see I'm above the ridge here. At 4,000 feet will be just fine. And you'll get a close look at Kneeland Airport. And that's, again, for people that the fog is down and they can't or they want to fly out early, so they put their airplane up here if they had to fly and they didn't have an instrument waiting to be climbing in or out. So you'll see us get on the final approach course. We're coming around here on final. We can come back on the power a little bit, and then we can look down here at the next. So we'll drop down to 3,700 feet, and we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do it to 35.
Vertical track.
Yeah, we can drop down more. Let's see. We want to be sure we intercept the glide slope, and I can see some yeah. It's coming down to intercept at this time. We have that on there, and as soon as we intercept, we can then this will all go green here. There. It's about to intercept. And I can see Arcata in the distance, right out there. The strobe lights right over in here is Humboldt State. It's now Cal Poly Humboldt. So they've upgraded themselves. Let's see this this intercept. Yeah, it's about to intercept the glide slope. This will turn magenta or pink. There it goes. It's intercepted. So we will start descending. See, it's descending from 3,500 on the glide slope. I didn't have that when I flew, and now we'll go ahead and bring in the weather, so we can pretend like I'm on the instrument flight plan. So we will go from clear sky to overcast, rain, and bring this down here. Let's see here. We'll bring the bottoms down to 4. How about 400? That ought to be good, right there. Let's see how we do. And we'll get inside like that. That's what I had to look at. We'll go ahead and turn this on. I didn't have a screen like that. I had no screens. I had these little steam gauges. they call them. I had an altimeter. It didn't look like a thermometer like this. It was a round gauge. The airspeed was a round gauge, and this is almost like real flying. And this is all in green at 2900. We have to start slowing down. We want to get this down to about 100.
Landing gear.
And we can go ahead and put the gear down. Put the flaps down first, and then the gear. So we have the flaps down a little bit. Put them down more. We'll see the gear light up. And we're watching our speed come down. There, we got our landing gear down. Now we'll look back up here. We'll be watching for the strobe light to come on. And this is what it looked like when I flew the male in the summertime. So we'll get it down to 100 though. We want to get it down to 100. What'll help that is pulling in the full flap. And where we're 2,000 feet, so the elevation of the field I think is around 200 feet. So we'd go down to minimums of 200 and a half a mile. There's the rain. I hear the rain. You can kind of see it over here. So I don't know. You didn't have these little indicators like that when I was flying. You didn't have any avionics like this when I was flying. But this is what you look for. It's coming down the glide slope. We could look at the autopilot here and see it. It's in between. Runway 22 is our next head. So we're inside the outer marker. I mean the middle marker. Get in a little closer here. We'll watch for the strobe light here. 1,400 feet. What's our speed? 85. That's perfect. 85, 84, 85. Don't quite see anything yet. I don't remember the elevation of the field there, but it may be 400 feet. It's just up from the ocean. That's for sure. 1,100 feet. Yeah, we got it back up to 99, but we can bring off the power a little, get it back to 85. I'm seeing out. You would never go with out the left window over here. The ground coming up. What you'd want to see is the and I just see it now. I just see it now. There. That's what you want to see. Yeah, I had the setting a little wrong. So we just broke out, and you could go ahead and take it off the autopilot. But the autopilot's doing fine. It'll take us right down to the end of the runway. And it seems to me I'd break out under. We'll see what the height, but the minimums were 200 and a half a mile, I think. Might have been 200 and a quarter back then. I could look it up on the chart, but it's unimportant. So I would break out, say about here. I'd have to tell them to cut the strobe, and then have the lights at level 5, the highest intensity, and then they would be, so as you got in closer, you'd ask them to cut the lights back to 4, 3, 2, and 1 as you got closer, because the intensity of these lights would be light. So here we go ahead and cut the, and we'll just stay right in here. Then we'll come back on the power, start slowing down. We're flying it now. Here we're down. Here we go. Old Arcata Airport. It wasn't Redwood, Empire, all that Humboldt back when I flew. It was just Arcata Airport. So that's what I was talking about when we came in the Dark Star. And we, of course, landed in the opposite direction, which worked out just fine. And then we had a big hangar down this way and up on the far end. But there's also the flight service used the control tower, the old World War II control tower. So we'd see the they're parked right over there. So we'd be parked right here, and we can go ahead. Well, if we just pretend like, let's see what the altitude is. Yeah, see 200. I did remember that right. The altitude of the field was 220, so it was about 400, and you'd before you broke out, the strobe light would create a flash. You would see a glow, a pulsating glow, about 500 before you broke out. So that was kind of nice. There's McKinleyville, little town right over there, just a short distance away. Okay, thanks for riding along on the mail run. See you soon. Bye-bye.